everyone. This is Deepak Chopra once again. Today, our session is really amazing. I'm very happy and excited to invite our special guest for this session, Manpreet. She's an educator, she's a social entrepreneur, very passionate about music and other things in her life, and she is graduated from University of UK. So, Manpreet, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Deepak, for the kind words and lovely introduction. I'm very grateful to be here. And again, thank you so much for creating the Dot Connector. It is such an insightful and collaborative platform, which is giving an opportunity to people like me who can who can share our experiences and ideas so that we can contribute towards the growth of our community. And congratulations.
Thank you. So, Manpreet, I remember when I met you first time, I was so inspired by who you are and what's your passion is to, inspire, youth and all those, young people out there when it comes to their education and English language. So I first of all, would like to request you to please give your complete introduction so that people out there can understand what is this session all about. And also please mention in details, this is not about just the English language, but for a bigger vision, like, how they can empower their kids to have, that critical thinking mindset when it comes to English language. So Manpreet, please take over and share about yourself and let us know what this session is all about tonight.
Sure. Thank you so much, Deepak. So just to give you a brief about my background and how did I land up into teaching. So I was 7 when I started journaling, and it was at the age of 10 when my parents spotted me teaching a few vacant chairs, and the very next day they got me a big blackboard with chalks. And later in the school, while I was growing up, watching my English teacher left a very firm and lasting impression on my mind. So, being inclined to teach from a very young age, I find teaching a highly rewarding profession because it allows me to create difference in others' lives and allows me to pursue my passion for lifetime. So coming back to the learner's pathway that I founded. So this platform is basically focusing on the academic English skills, especially the grammatical, writing, and reading. It's not a tutoring center. It's not a training center for new immigrants and newcomers that trains English language for now. Basically, it is focusing on how we can make our youth, our children, critical thinkers, independent and creative thinkers, so that they command the English academic skills in order to succeed in all the other subjects and even beyond their formal education. So because I also know that here are some educators and teachers who are watching us, I'd like to share 3 strategies that I use when I teach. I hope if they find it useful, they can incorporate into their own teaching styles in their classrooms.
Absolutely. So Manpreet, even before you start sharing about for educators and teachers who are watching this episode, when we designed this session, we posted that on our social media, and we got some questions from our audience also, which I will be asking maybe along the way. Especially how it is helping for kids, all those young kids, to be a critical thinker. As you mentioned, it is just not about English. It is impacting every subject. And many parents out there also reach out to us and they requested us if we can share some insight, especially for high school kids. When the time comes for them to get admission in universities, they ask for resume or essay, right? Yeah. And then then the students are basically most of the time are getting help from outside. But I think the real success is when students are able to write everything about themselves.
Absolutely, on their own. That's the aim. We need to make them independent. We don't want them to be dependent on the extra help or the outside help, right? So you got it. You put it very well. Sure. So we will be answering. I'll be happy to answer all the questions that we have received. And I'd like to begin with the suggestions I have for the educators.
Sure. Please go ahead, Manpreet. The floor is all yours.
Sure. All right. So, like I said, 3 essential strategies to increase student engagement in class, because I believe if the students are engaged in a classroom, no matter if you are teaching them in group, if their age groups are different, they will learn the best because they want to feel included. They want to feel that, oh, we are doing something interesting, which is going to help us. So the first one that I use in my teaching strategy is letting the students know what they will learn and why. I think because it lays the foundation for the students so that whatever information or skills you are teaching them, they learn it in the best way. The second is establishing a learner centered environment. I think this can be done by designing individualized plans because every student's needs are unique and focusing on their lacks and strengths. The third is instilling a sense of self worth and confidence. And I think this is so important, both for academic achievement and mental growth as well. And this can be done by not making the student feel wrong in front of other students, by appreciating them for even trying out, even if the answer is wrong, and making them realize that, hey, if you made a mistake, that's okay. It was an opportunity for you to learn something from.
Manpreet, you know what? You said it so wonderfully. I remember most of the fear which we developed even as an adult, they all started from the school by raising our hand and answering a question which might be wrong, and everybody laughed, and even teacher and other kids made wrong, and that fear basically drive the whole life. So if teachers and educators out there can focus on this particular thing, that is very huge.
Absolutely. It's just not, education is just not getting good grades or academic achievement. It is a wholesome, it's a holistic development, I'd say. And that's what my next strategy is. So paying attention to their cognitive development, their social, behavioral, and communication development, while we also focus on their academic achievement. I always say we don't want to create walking Wikipedias. We want to create walking idea generators. And that's only possible when we focus on their mental, social, emotional, and behavioral growth as well. And the last strategy I'd like to add here is it's a huge myth that English doesn't need practice. You know, but I like to disagree that we as educators, we need to make all the parents and students aware of the fact that English requires practice just like other subjects, because if they have learned something and if they don't practice it enough, they're always going to stay dependent on their extra help. They will never become independent, and that's what we want, them to become independent and creative thinkers.
Wonderful. Thank you, Manpreet. That is really very valuable information, and I'm sure teachers and educators out there, they will definitely find this information helpful. Manpreet, another question, which I'm having, which came from my guest and all those friends who asked me, like, their kids are already in English speaking environment, right? They're in Canada. English is a first language. Their kids are very much fluent in speaking English. How you can differentiate your program in this country, especially where English is already your first language?
Right. I
And another thing, Manpreet, I also want to bring it here for all those viewers out there. This presentation, we are sharing that in the description box. So don't worry about taking the notes. Just focus on the information, and you will get access to all those slides in the description box once we upload this video. So yes, Manpreet, please go ahead.
thank you for that. Heads up to all our viewers. Right, that was a nice question. Thank you for asking that. You know what? I always ask parents about one thing. Yes, they are fluent speakers and they can read. They can read as well. You give them any text and they will be able to read. But the thing is, when you ask them to explain what they read, when you comprehend, they get stuck. They're not able to comprehend it and summarize the text, whatever they just read, in simple words. because they lack in the comprehension skills. And that reflects when they are not able to do the math word problems, when they're not able to understand the complex science text, right? And that also reflects when you ask them to write an essay in 20 minutes, a 5-page long answer, or a critical evaluation of a paper or a book report. So these are the areas where they get stuck. So, with all my years in teaching experience, I wondered that, there is something that needs to be done about this. And I think this is happening because there is a huge fundamental gap in their knowledge. All these writing and reading strategies were taught until elementary level, elementary and primary level. They got declined when the students jumped into middle and high school because schools have so much on their plate already. They're not able to focus on it. So I was like, okay, I need to take in charge and, start educating students on this. So that's my message to the parents, that the foundation program in which the student will remain in this program, foundation program, for over a year, practice what you teach them, practice what I teach them, and then they will not require tutoring anymore. And that's the strength of the foundation program that I created. So that's what I have to say, that they really need academic writing and reading skills.
So, Manpreet, what I'm hearing is like, once they have, this technology and all those tools, and if they practice that, they become somebody who is self-generating the program to them.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And like you also said, that parents, they have this question. And because we were talking about writing skills, so I have information, I have some strategies that I can share, that how can students improve their writing skills? Because you were just talking about that, they're fluent speakers, but they get stuck in reading and in writing, improving writing. And because we don't have a lot of time, so I think, there are so many areas we can talk about. But for now, I think I'd like to focus on how can students improve their writing skills.
Absolutely. Please go ahead, Manpreet.
So let me share some strategies. See, there is so much information on internet already about it, but I think the strategies that I'm going to share, there are 4 points that I'm going to share. They have worked in a best way for my students so far. So in my experience, they have worked very well. Now, the first point, so without this skill, no student can improve their writing skill. Can you guess what exactly it could be? It is reading. So read daily to improve writing skills. Reading is so essential to improving your writing skills. And you know what, students? This is for you. 6 things will happen when you read every day. So let me share that with you. First, it helps you develop critical thinking skills. When you read something, your thinking process gets activated. You do cross questioning. You ask yourself, oh, why this is happening, or why it's written in this way. So it activates your critical thinking skills. Number 2, it exposes you to a variety of writing styles, because you're coming across nonfiction, poetry, fiction, history, drama. So eventually, you will have a knowledge of different kind of writing styles, and you would know how a particular genre is written.
So, Manpreet, basically, you are suggesting and encouraging them, they can read anything and everything, whatever inspired them and whatever they're interested in.
Yes. And yes, I'd like to add this here. Do not. So when it comes to reading, you don't necessarily have to read the academic texts. No, no, no. When I say read, pick up anything that you like. Could be newspaper, could be an article, could be a book, fiction, history, horror, anything. Go ahead, hop on onto any book and just read what you enjoy reading.
Wonderful.
Yes. So I'll continue. Third point, it improves your sentence structure. Definitely, because you'd be reading different kind of texts and you will be able to notice, oh, okay, this is how this particular sentence is written. Okay, this punctuation is used in this way. So eventually, as you read, your sentence structures will improve. Fourth, it expands your vocabulary. Inevitably, when you will be reading different kind of texts, you will come across so many words, and it's going to bring you a lot of vocabulary. Fifth, it brings you new ideas. You never know which one word or sentence inspires you to write a whole new paragraph, write a whole new story, So reading is always directly proportional to writing. And the last one is it enhances knowledge of a variety of topics. This is my favorite. For example, let's say you read about dinosaurs, let's say a week ago. And then a week later in school, your teacher gives you a prompt, maybe on dinosaurs. And you're like, oh, I did read about it a week ago. So your mind will have some information on dinosaurs. You'll be able to write it down. So you never know what reading information will help you when in writing.
Wonderful. So Manpreet, I also want to add in here, reading is such an important thing in everybody's life, not only once they are into the studies, like in their school's time, but even for adults like us who are into businesses. Whenever I read anything about my real estate business, I always learned some good tips and ideas and great knowledge out of that. And after implementing that knowledge into the business, there is definitely so many results which we got. So leaders are readers. So if one can develop this habit very beginning in their age, that'll be very, very helpful for them.
Absolutely. Reading is very critical to improve writing. Better readers become better writers, like you said. Yes. Another thing, I always encourage parents to read in front of their children, especially because psychologically, children imitate parents. You will be surprised if you will start reading. You will see your child immediately, eventually will pick up a book and they will start reading it too. So must try. Read with them, read in front of them. You'll be surprised how much it impacts your child in reading.
Okay.
Yes. So like I said, the first point was read daily in tools to improve your writing. The second tip is make writing a daily exercise. So make reading a daily exercise, make writing a daily exercise. And Deepak, I always say compare writing to the skill of cooking or to the skill of painting. If a chef or if a painter won't practice every day, do you think they'll be skilled in their own fields?
Never.
Never, right? This is just like we can never expect a football player to become a pro just after one practice session. That's not possible, right?
It is something like brushing your teeth. You have to do it every day.
Yes. So, in order to achieve that level of writing, you have to practice writing every day. And, I have a technique called the 20-10 technique, which I'll be sharing right, after I finish this tip. So how do you actually set yourself to write every day? Number one, what you can do? Write a small paragraph every day. The best time to do that is either, early in the morning for early risers or right before you go to sleep. You can do journaling if you want. Just, share your thoughts with the diary. You can put a daily reminder on your phone. Second is partner up with your friend or sibling. If you have, a friend or your brother or sister who also wants to improve writing, just partner up with them. All you have to do is do your own writing separately, exchange your writings, and then discuss and share feedback. This is going to improve your critical thinking skills, your group discussion skills, and most likely your editing skills when you share the feedback. This is how you can, improve writing skills. And like I said, the 20-10 technique. Now, what exactly is the 20-10 technique? Practice it 30 minutes before sleep every single day. For example, if you want to sleep at 10:30, around 10, keep your phone aside.
I really want to jump into this thing. Keep your phone aside is very important. I remember I sometimes I also try reading something, but with every after 2 or 3 minutes, my hands go toward my phone and I see the notification.
Yes, it is right.
complete value of this, really keep your phone aside.
Absolutely. That's why I've written at the second point, keep your phone aside. And then break 30 minutes into two sections, 20 minutes for writing, 10 minutes for reading. Write anything, like I said, anything that you feel, journal, small paragraph, 10 minutes for reading. You can also switch. You can spend 10 minutes for reading. For example, if you want to read about stars, so you read about stars for 10 minutes. Now, you can write about stars in your own words, whatever you understood from your reading. This will enhance your summarizing skills, your comprehension skills eventually. So, honestly, Deepak, this technique has helped my students um, get great results. So my students have gotten really good grades, their comprehension skills improve just in 2 to 3 months after they practiced it every day. So 2010 technique to be practiced daily for 30 minutes.
Yes, Manpreet, you really mentioned very well in the beginning of this session. This is just not for the kids. Rather, this is also helping teachers and parents and educators also. So I think it is the responsibility of us as a parent to start developing these habits in our kids' life very early in their age so that they can become better in their field and they can be a critical thinker and they can enhance these skills. So this is a responsibility for all those adults in the home, maybe elder siblings, which can help them, their younger brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'll just finish up the 2010 technique and what results you can get from this. Like I said, great results. This can improve your grades. It can improve your writing skills, reading comprehension skills, the ability to generate ideas. That's huge. Your creativity and concentration. And in the end, you sleep like a baby. Science says when you read or write right before you sleep so well without any stress, like a baby.
Wow, that's great.
Yes. So, like I said, I'll just quickly wrap it up. So, the first one was read every day, write every day. And now you have 2010 technique to follow so that you can read and write every day, right? The third one is write consciously. Deepak, I have seen this over the years that students get confused between their spoken English and academic English, which is written English. They tend to mix it up, and that's why they're not able to get good grades. This is one of the major reasons. So when they write consciously. So students, when you write, make sure you write consciously. Don't just use the words that you use often when you are just talking, because it's a very huge topic. I cannot say everything about it in this session, but I'll give you one major key point. Avoid using words like really, very, just in your written sentences because they make your sentences very weak. And I've given an example in this slide down here, which you can look into later on when you download the slides. So, students, again, when you write down anything, an essay or a paragraph, make sure that you write it consciously. You are processing the information, you're organizing the information, and not simply just, writing what you are thinking on your mind, which you use to speak. It's very different. Spoken is different from academic English.
I can totally relate to this slide, Manpreet. I use these words, quite often, like really, very, and I think the reason is that if I would have, have access to this kind of session at my age, definitely I could have learned this skill and I could have improved, whatever the way it can be. So definitely, this is very helpful.
Thank you. These words are okay in spoken. It's completely fine because, this is our colloquial language. But when it comes to writing, a big no-no. Right. So our last point that is going to help you improve your writing, proofread. Deepak, remember how when we were young, at least at our age, our parents and especially our moms, they would focus so much, almost, like a threat. Do not submit your exam sheet until you revise it. Revise it. And I remember it clearly. So I think they were right. Proofread, it's a very powerful tool. Students, you need to understand a misplaced punctuation can change the entire meaning of a sentence. So make sure before you finalize your writing, you edit it, you proofread it, and science says that try to read it a little aloud or at least whisper if you can. Again, proofreading is a very powerful tool. Do not finish your writing without this step. A quick revision: how can we improve our writing skills? 4 things: read every day, write every day, and you have 20-10 technique to do that. Write consciously, proofread. These 4 techniques, absolutely you'll be able to improve your writing skills.
Wonderful, Manpreet. That is really very valuable information on first reading and now this writing. So, Manpreet, I would also like to request you to share those tips which can help parents out there to, inspire their kids or empower them to develop these kind of habits.
Sure. Deepak, so many parents have, asked me already that their kids don't like to write. This is their major concern. Their kids don't like to write. But here is my question. Have you ever thought, why don't they like to write? Because they don't have an interest. Simple. They don't have interest in writing. So what exactly do we need to do? We need to develop their interest in writing. And you know what? Deepak, writing essays, stories, book reports is not the only way to practice writing. There is another way, and that is a very nice way. So I'm going to share that with you. It's called journaling.
Okay.
Yes. So, parents, dear parents, let me tell you, you can encourage your children to journal every day. Journaling will set a base for your kids to develop their interest in writing. So this is how you can do this. Number one, encourage your child to journal. What does that mean is, you can talk about it. You can initiate a conversation about it. Hey, I used to journal when I was young and it helped me in this way. Do you want to journal? It is a very nice way to share your feelings. So you can encourage them in any way that you feel comfortable with. Number two, help them personalize their journal so they feel connected to it. When so that the children they feel like going back to their diary and writing things in it. So help them personalize it, maybe decorating it in some way or anything. Number three, parents, this is very important. Yes, I know you really want your kids to improve your writing skills, and but I'd like to say, avoid giving them any kind of academic prompts for now in this initial stage. Don't give them the topics from their school, those big topics about about why do you think the museums are there, or any kind of academic topic. Just let them write about what they're interested in. As simple as that.
Manpreet, I would like to share one incident. I think almost 8 years ago, when we went to India on vacation, and my son was with us. So his teacher did amazing exercise for him. She said, when you are back home in India, write down all the journey, the complete trip from start to finish, what you have done there, what did you try when it comes to Indian ethnic food. And there was festival Diwali also during that time. So she even asked him to write it down, everything, how you celebrated Diwali in India. So that exercise really helped, in developing the interest for my son in reading and writing skills. So yeah, this is a very, very useful information.
Yes, because my mom, when I was young, she just gave me journal one day when I was like 7 years old. She's like, you know what, Manpreet, write everything that you feel in this journal. If you're going to a trip, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling happy, share everything with the diary. And I am so grateful to my mom, for inculcating that habit in me. And I'm sure all the parents out there can do the same. Now, next thing. So like I said, these were the 3 points, Deepak, that parents can use. Here is a list of topics that might interest your child. So I won't read all the points here. You can, like I said, you can download the slides later on and you can look into it. These are very interesting topics. And if you give this to your children, I'm sure they will, write something on it with interest. Other activities. These are three activities, Deepak, that that are very interesting. Number one is weekend reflection. So parents, gather with your children, pick one day on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, whatever time, just sit with them and then ask them, hey, how was your past weekend? Is there something that you want to write about it? Was there something that was very interesting that happened with you, something that you were trying to figure out the past week, something that you're grateful for? It is going to also help them in reflecting on their past week. It's kind of going to be a critical reflection writing for them. So this is also going to enhance the relationship of parents and their children. It's going to increase their bond. um, Second is little notes of appreciation. So if you appreciate your kids, good, but add a little thing here. Try to write it on a sticky note and give it to them, or maybe just put it somewhere on a paper. Because children imitate you, they will start doing the same. If they want to say something to you, they want to appreciate you, they will write it down. So this is another way to evoke their interest in writing. And the last one is exchange letters. So towards the end of a month, all the family members, they can say, okay, today we're going to exchange letters to each other. Gone are the days, Deepak, when people used to write letters to each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yes, and then today everything is on WhatsApp messages. But writing has its own charm and magic. So, all the family members should say that, okay, today's an exchange letters day. Let us write a letter to each other about anything. Maybe you want to say something to them, appreciate them, or anything special that happened in that month. So these
Manpreet,
activities
yeah,
are about evoking their interest.
Manpreet, when you were sharing this, these exercises, one thing I really, just getting present to while sitting in this session with you is like these exercises are not just developing your kids in their, language skills or writing skills. These are family activities. These activities are bringing family together. This is what we are here for, right?
Yes, absolutely. For oneness, for togetherness.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
This is the biggest challenge for many families. Like, they feel once kids grow up, they don't spend much time with their parents. And I think once they have these fundamental foundational activities done at the early ages, that creates really strong bonding and that really raises wonderful kids.
Absolutely. It is like it's helping the kids develop their academic skills, and it's helping the family overall, building and developing their bonds and relationships with each other.
Yeah.
So, like I said, just a quick review. So, parents, your kids don't like to write because they don't have interest. So, what you gotta do is encourage your children with something like journaling so that their interest gets developed. The idea is once their interest gets developed, they can write any kind of writing. Trust me. Once they start liking to write, they will be able to write anything. Deepak, I'd like to conclude that English may be a single subject, but it helps succeeding in multiple subjects. When kids have their command on academic English writing skills, reading skills, grammatical skills, it's also going to help them become successful in other subjects. It's going to help them become to become better at dealing with math world problems, writing long answers for social studies, doing the scientific or the science assignments. So please do not underestimate the value and the power of English. It is very, very fundamental, and you do require it in order to be successful in all other disciplines and subjects.
Absolutely, Manpreet. So, Manpreet, before we wind up this session, I really, really, really want to acknowledge you and thank you for putting up such a special PowerPoint presentation and sharing your experience, your journey, and these useful tips for teachers, educators, parents, and kids. I'm sure that will be very helpful for people out there. And as you mentioned, We'll be definitely sharing these slides into the description box. So Manpreet, if you can also share about your company and how you help all those families out there who are looking forward for more information to help and enable their kids to develop these skills. Do you take classes? Do you have any program or anything about your business and yourself, just to conclude the topic?
Thank you so much, Deepak, for giving me this opportunity to talk about the learner's pathway, which is, my vision, my mission, my aim, my baby. Um, Right. So the thing is, I always ask parents and everybody out there that why do you think so many middle and high school children, they, like we were talking before, they get stuck when you ask them about reading comprehension, about writing a story, an essay, critical analysis, or simply explaining or summarizing what they just read. Um, to clarify here again, the reason behind this is the lack of clarity and the foundational concepts and strategies of academic English. Despite going to very good schools, the students have this foundational gap. And like I said, the schools, I believe, they have a lot on their plate already. And even if they want, they can't focus. So the vision of bridging this conceptual gap, Deepak, of academic English amongst our future generation, amongst our youth and children, inspired me to create the Learner's Pathway. It is not a tutoring center. It is not an English training center for immigrants or newcomers. TLP, this is how I, shortcut of calling the Learner's Pathway. So TLP is an academic English learning space where I have created foundation program. It's a unique program that has been designed. So the student remains in this program for about a year, learns all the skills of writing, reading, public speaking, grammar, and a lot more, and then practices it. And then, I assure the student wouldn't require tutoring again. So the journey of the Learner's Pathway started in 2017. The first class took place in India in 2017, April. For 2 years, it kept producing great results and successful stories until I moved to Canada in 2019, Toronto. Then I decided to, okay, I'm in Canada. I need to resume this practice of the Learner's Pathway. So with that vision, I started researching. I started teaching the students of the different diversities and ethnicities in Canada, so that I can have an experience of teaching different backgrounds. And now I'm here in Edmonton, 2022, ready to help children transform their lives once again through Foundation Program. I do offer other programs like reading program, writing program, but the foundation program caters to all the areas of academic English. Deepak, the aim is to make our children independent and creative thinkers so that tomorrow, when they step out of their schools, colleges, universities, they can successfully thrive in today's highly demanding world. And as a founder of the Learner's Pathway, I want to contribute to raising a generation of creative and critical thinkers, so that they are happy, they are successful, and they are creative and critical thinkers. If any of our viewers have any questions, I'd be happy to assist them. They can reach me through the website www.thelearnerspathway.com, or they can give me a call on 437-246-7305. And they can also shoot me an email to thelearnerspathway@gmail.com. So rest of the information will be in the description, I believe, of this video. And again, a huge thanks, a heartfelt thanks to you, Deepak, for bringing this platform and opportunity. I congratulate you again.
Thank you, Manpreet. And you know what? Pleasure is all mine, and I really thank you on behalf of all that audience and my friends and families and people out there who is watching this video. This is very valuable information. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time to us and sharing these wonderful ideas. And definitely, as you mentioned, your contact information and these slides will be added into the description box. So thank you, Manpreet, once again. And thank you everyone out there. Stay tuned and we will be sharing more of these kind of valuable sessions in coming days. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you.